How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Emnix Plays Path of Exile Expedition League.
I
It's been
cannot
a
do
while
this yet.
since we released the last episode, and admittedly, I have been a little busy. We went on a camping trip, and then after that, I've just been kind of chilling. Admittedly, I have been playing a lot of Path of Exile still, but I haven't gotten that far, and the reason for that is I've been sort of playing it extremely casually. How casually, you may ask? I've been playing on my phone. I've mentioned this many, many times. I've managed to get my Path of Exile working on Steam Link. So, while I'm upstairs in the living room, maybe watching a kind of TV show on the side, I'm just like kind of playing Path of Exile as a mobile game. It's a very, very slow way to play, admittedly, and you don't get too much done. But it has been very fun for me. So, let's talk about the gear and what has changed since we last played. I believe I switched over to Brutus's lead sprinkler. Did I do it in the last episode? I can't remember anymore, but I switched over. And then after switching over, because we switched from a two-handed weapon to Brutus's lead sprinkler, and for those of you who are not aware, what makes Brutus's lead sprinkler interesting is that it adds 4 to 7 fire damage to attacks per 10 strength. So really, this is turned into a strength stacking build. And admittedly, I don't have too much strength just yet. I have 717. It's like it's not a crazy amount. But DPS wise, we're sitting at 35,000 DPS per totem. And I have 5 totems available, although normally it's maybe 4 plus and an Ancestral Protector totem, which makes all the totems really fast. And then when I'm fighting bosses, it's actually 3 totems plus Ancestral Protector plus an Ancestral War Chief. One thing I should probably think about getting is Vol Ancestral War Chiefs, because the Vol Ancestral War Chief doesn't. It gives you an extra totem, so you can have 6 totems in total, whereas right now I have 5. The reason I have 5 totems, one comes from Ancestral Bond, which is +1 to max totem, and the other one comes from this shield. I had the choice of getting Tukohama's Fortress, and it probably would have been a good choice. It gives you a lot of damage. It gives you a +1 to totems, but it also gave you like blood magic. And for some people, you could consider that as a good thing. For me, I was like, I didn't really want to go the blood magic route. It give you blood magic and mortal conviction, which means you could only have one permanent non-banner aura, and then your non-banner skills do not reserve life. So I could have had anger for free, and then defiance banner would have been, or like some kind of banner would have been I could have reserved 10% of my life for another banner, but otherwise I can't have any other auras. Right now I'm running Defiance banner, Anger, as well as Precision, and the reason why I run Precision is because Precision basically lets me pretty much max out my chance to hit. And the reason why I need more accuracy is because I dropped out of Resolute Technique. So, before hits could not be evaded, they can be now, so I need accuracy. And the reason why I dropped out of Resolute Technique is so I wanted to go the critical strike route. So I picked up a lot of crit nodes on the tree. Crit strike chance, crit strike multi. There's more crit stuff over here. Is there more? I think I took some crit stuff over here and I actually moved out of cluster jewels because I didn't really have the right amount of currency to invest in cluster jewels. So this is actually a no cluster jewel tree, which I thought was kind of interesting. I rarely see them anymore. And there's still a lot of stuff that I can add. I can probably still add a Watcher's Eye. I can still add a lot of interesting jewels, Might of the Meek. And I have a lot of passive points that I can still potentially allocate, maybe 3 or 4 more. I'm currently level 89. I imagine I would be able to get to level 93 if it wasn't for the fact that I'm playing mobile at the time, and when I'm playing mobile, I can't actually dodge stuff, so I have no defenses, so I have like 0 EXP. But yeah, so I got a new shield with +1 summon totems. I went for the strength route. So my belt, for example, has a decent amount of strength. It has an essence crafted, the 55 strength, and then it has a strength implicit. My helmet has gained accuracy rating equal to your strength, and this is a very, very important node that I didn't realize was that important. Basically, this gave you a lot of accuracy rating, 700 accuracy rating, pretty much, right? And that combined with all the accuracy nodes basically brings you back up to like 100% chance to hit. Without this, I'm at like 85%, so I lose so much damage when I don't have this helmet. 4,000 DPS, and then once you add all the auras and stuff, I'm at 35,000. So it's a huge difference. Otherwise, I don't think too much has changed. I crafted this thing with Rog, which I thought was awesome because it had tier 1 strength, plus tier 1 life, and tier 1 crit strike multi. I was like, holy cow, this is an insane amulet. And then I anointed Shaman's Dominion, which is this node over here, which gives you crit strike chance, crit strike multi, just a lot of crit stuff, which is nice. HP wise, I'm at 5600 HP. My defenses are not great, admittedly. I'm getting one shot a lot, and that's something I probably need to look at more in the future. I don't really know what the solution is. Like, I was thinking maybe I just go and get more damage. Despite all the investment I have put into this character, and I think there's a decent amount, a lot of it was self-crafted, admittedly. Like, did I buy this? I bought this thing for like, 50, 60, like some chaos, like not a crazy amount. Maybe let's say 1 exalt. This one I self-crafted. I just chaos spammed it until I hit gain accuracy rating equal to your strength. And then it rolled with tier 1 armor as a prefix, and I hit it with T4 Ashling. It removed the armor, and then I got cold and chaos res, which I thought was pretty good because the one thing that kills me a lot is chaos damage. Every time I fight Al-Hazmin, it's a freaking mission. So having that is actually really good. The rings, I'm pretty sure I haven't upgraded it since like the end of Act 10. Like, this ring is still item level 64, as you can tell. I think I made these with Rog, actually. So, this one can actually take one more Exalt Slam. But I preferably would want a different ring. It has mana as an implicit, which isn't great for me. Everything else is just resistances. These gloves, I think I picked it up. Just straight up. And it had T1 strength. I'm like, oh no, I bought this. I bought these gloves. It had tier 1 strength, tier 1 attack speed. And it also happened to have global strike chance and 30% increased elemental damage if you dealt a crit strike recently and life. I'm like, wow, these gloves are actually really great. So in the future, I probably want something with attack speed, but I would probably want something that's a little bit more end game. Tier 1 strength, attack speed, and then, maybe on like a better implicit, maybe on a warlord's influence gloves. But those are like really late game stuff that I really haven't thought about yet, at least not that far. My number 1 priority is getting a 6 link. So, I'm currently on tier like 14, 15 maps. I don't have that Awakener level 4. I don't have that many watchstones. I've been playing like extremely casually. And I have been dying a lot on red maps. And I realized part of the reason is I don't have enough damage. I could spend a whole bunch of currency getting better gear just to get more damage, getting a Watcher's Eye, getting a better jewel. I feel like my first priority, and probably the easiest one, it does take a decent amount of currency, is to just get a friggin' 6 link. Now, what I did first is, before I was spamming it with fusings, and I probably threw like 300-400 fusings on it. And I'm like, this is not working. All right, I'm using a lore weave. That's going to be my endgame body chest armor until I can think of something better. I'm sure there is something better, but this thing has everything I need. It has attributes, it has crit strike chance, it has elemental damage. It raises our maximum resistances to 78, which is great. It has all the stats that I would potentially want. It's actually really good defensively and offensively. So it's kind of hard to upgrade out of this, and if that's the case, I'm probably going to be sitting on this chest for a long time while I upgrade the other pieces. So probably what I want to do, is to 6 link it. So first thing I did was I got T4 Hillock in, and the way you do that is you get Hillock to tier 3 in the safe house, and then you run Katarina, and then they become tier 4. And the reason why I did that is because tier 4 Hillock allows you to set the quality of a type of item to 30%. And depending on where Hillock is, it's 30% for weapons, or 30% for flasks, or 30% for armor or you get scarabs or something like that. So I got the one for armor, and so I 30%ed my chest. And the reason why I want to 30% it is, for those of you who didn't know, the higher the quality of an item, the increased odds of you getting higher tiered links. So a higher chance of you getting 6 links and 5 links and so on. So it's 30% right now. I have 300 fusings. Hopefully that's enough. If not, I have an Exalt as well as some Chaos Orb to invest in to try and 6-link this thing. But let's just hope that streamer RNG prevails. I don't know how long it's gonna take, but I think this is how we're gonna start it. So let's just get into it. Let's just try and 6-link this thing. Hopefully RNG is on our side today. If not, we might be spending quite a bit of currency. One thing I have to think about is I can't overdo it. If I fail in the 6-link, I think I'm just gonna spam maybe 150. And then if I fail with the 6-link, I need to try and get back to a 5-link. So I need to save myself at least like 100 fusings to try for that. Okay, so I had 300 fusings, right? So when I get down to maybe... Well, I can spam all of this just fine. If I run out, I guess I have to trade my Exalt for more fusings. And then I don't know what I'm gonna do. Because I don't have any jewelers either. And, you know, this is why the 6-link is actually really hard. It takes quite a bit of currency. You know, without just 20%, it's probably gonna take you like 1,200, 1,300 fusings. Jesus, okay. And you might be asking, Emnix, why are you clicking so quick? What if you roll over your 6-link? A long time ago, GGG added a change where if you get a 6-link and try to apply fusing to it, it won't let you. Just in case you roll over it. It was like a quality of life change. Okay, we did not get our fusing, so I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna trade my Exalt for some more fusings and see if we can get a 6-link from that. Alrighty, we're back. So I went and traded my Exalt for 300 and some change fusings. So we're back to where we started at the beginning. Let's keep going until I get down to maybe 120, and then I have to think about maybe stopping at another 5-link and just saving up some more currency again. I hope we get it today. I really hope so. I've invested quite a bit into it. I built a little shrine. Hopefully that, you know, translates to better luck. I don't know. So let's see. I'm gonna probably let it go down to 125, I guess. Yeah, let's get down to 125 fusings, and then if I stop at a 5-link, I think I just have to stop. Man, this is rough. Nothing, huh? Okay. Let's stop at a 5-link then. Now I have to do it slowly and watch for a 5-link. Wait, did I get a 5-link and skip it? I might have. I'm getting confused. Uh-oh. Not too many fusings left, admittedly. Okay, there's the 5-link with 28 fusings left. Unfortunately, it looks like we're not hitting that 6-link today. But yeah, I guess that's the story of my life so far. This league, I just need to save up currency and you know, just for the purposes of 6-linking. I guess that's what we're doing for the next while. So I don't know, 6-link failed, I guess. unfortunately, I guess we're just gonna go back to mapping. So I have a few red maps available. Let's get some tunes going. Okay. So in terms of the maps, I have a couple well, I have very few, like, you know, tier 15s and tier 16s. Haywark Hamlet, Haywark Hamlet. I was planning on working on the Watchstone in that area anyways. So maybe that is what I'll... Actually, no, let's do these first so we can unlock Drox. And we can maybe try fighting him. So let's chisel this. Alkit. Curse with elemental weakness. I don't really... Well, I don't mind it too much, I guess. I don't mind it too much. My resistances are... They're decent. I don't have as much cold resist as I would like, but that's fine. Basilica, I have unlocked this thing already. Okay, so Harbingers. And then run it with a Zana so we can get more map drops maybe. And if I want that, maybe I should be focusing on adding a little bit more extra quality as well. Let's add this. And do I have any Cartographer Scarabs? No. I feel like Cartographer Scarabs are actually quite underrated. Or maybe they're not. Maybe they're not. I don't know. I feel like they're underrated in the sense that they're cheap enough where you can just throw into a map. And if you get even like one red map drop, you've already made back your money, you know? Because like high tier red maps are kind of annoying to get. Alright, while I'm not playing on mobile, I feel like I'm a lot more survivable. Hey, there's one high tier. No, that's not. It's tier 12. Tier 12.
My mana is gone.
So yeah, like at this point we're playing a build that's basically entirely reliant on having a mana flask. Which to some people they probably don't like. And if that's the case, maybe you want to consider going the blood magic route. If you're playing this build, you know, I know a lot of people that play the Consecrated Path Totems are doing blood magic with Tukohama's Fortress, especially with the recent nerfs to mana, where, you know, it is a little bit harder to sustain mana, especially on a totem build, right? Totem builds tend to consume a lot of mana with no way to leech it back because you're playing an attack build, you're not playing a spell build, so you don't have stuff like, I don't know, Arcane Surge and all of that stuff. You know, you're not really taking advantage of that stuff, and you don't have much. You know, you're not playing Mind Over Matter, so you don't have much mana pool to begin with. You know, I only have 800 mana available, so I really am using the mana potions a lot. One thing you can, you know, this might be a good thing or a bad thing that you can consider is like, I have a decent amount of mana regen, and what that translates to is that if I just don't go insanely fast, I do have enough mana to sustain. You know, I drop the totem, I run forward, and maybe if I just like reduce my clear speed, and a lot of people that's a non-option, right? But if I reduce the clear speed, it's actually not too bad in terms of sustaining all this mana. You know, including using the mana flask. And I feel like running mana flask for some people is not optimal either, because it just feels so clunky, which I kind of admit, you know, it does. It feels a little clunky to just, you know, spam a mana flask every few seconds. You know, we're back to spamming flasks, right? But you know, if you just sort of manage your skills properly, if you don't spam them too much, you can kind of see, like if you're looking at the mana pool right now, we're kind of sustaining it, right? In fact, we are sustaining it. It's just when my clear speed starts going insane, I start jumping from place to place, I drop totems like non-stop, I'm cursing people, I'm doing all these war cries. That's when mana consumption maybe gets a little bit out of hand and I need to pop a mana flask. Against bosses, normally it's not a problem. It is a problem against bosses who are like killing my totems all the time, but these totems have leech, So the idea is they should be able to sustain themselves. The totems themselves should be able to sustain because of the leech mechanics on the totems, life leech specifically. So they can survive like hits. The issue arises with things like, you know, like damaging effects on the ground. Like those effects typically do a lot more damage because the assumption is the way to mitigate that damage is to just get out of the way, right? Totems cannot get out of the way, but you can, which means, you know, I feel like GGG purposely made those things hurt a little bit more. Oh, one second. All right. Sorry, hopefully that wasn't too much of an interruption. Maybe you didn't even notice. I'm not sure. I paused the video for a second.
I cannot.
Had to go help with hanging up a little bit of laundry, you know? It's one benefit of doing like these YouTube recordings versus streaming, you know? Streaming is like one continuous, like 2-hour episode. Whereas on YouTube, I almost feel like I'm playing single player. And in a way, I kind of am, right? Like in a stream, you can associate it to playing like a multiplayer game where, you know, you can't pause the game is live. Whereas here, and I've been saying this a lot, Path of Exile is very much like a great single player game and a great game to, you know, if you actually don't have time. Not to say, you know, you should play this if you don't have time and then you'll be able to clear the game and everything, right? Like, it takes a lot of time to get anywhere in Path of Exile, admittedly, but it's a great game if you just need to, like, if you need to do something every 30 minutes. Like, you can easily pause the game. After this fight, I could take a portal, I leave the map, or I just find somewhere in AFK, especially since I'm softcore. And, you know, like, for example, for me, I went upstairs, I went to hang up a little bit of laundry. Whereas, like, a game like, I don't know, like Valorant, Dota, I play those occasionally as well. You can't walk away. If you walk away, you're abandoning your team. So the fact that I was able to get away with it is kind of dope. You know, that's one thing I do really like about Path of Exile. One thing I kind of, as a convenience factor, you know, now that I kind of wish for is the ability to actually like trade while I'm away, because as a result of like not being online as often and being AFK a lot, every time people message me for trades, I always miss it. So that aspect kind of sucks, but you know, I'll take what I can get. I can still play my game even though I have less time these days, which is a great thing. So what was I talking about before? Now I forgot because it has been a minute. Mana? Was it mana? Anyways, mana hasn't been too much of an issue. Clear speed has been okay as well, especially with the combination of Ancestral Protector alongside Leap Slam. Our movement is actually pretty decent. I think I was talking about totem survivability. The totems are like pretty survivable. There are cases where against ground effects, there we go, against ground effects, you know, they kind of kill themselves off, which is kind of a hindrance to me because it causes me to summon more totems at like a faster rate that I'm used to, and as a result that means that, you know, I start running out of mana and stuff, and that's when I really need to hit the mana flasks. But otherwise it's been okay. The build has been fine. Defenses have been a little bit lackluster. I don't really know how to build defenses on totem builds. I mean, if any, especially totem attack builds. I mean, you know, aside from Ancestral Warchief, there hasn't really been that many of those kinds of builds in the past anyways. This is the first league where Earthbreaker support has come out, so you know, not many people are building totem builds with slams, right? Prior to that. So not too sure how I'm gonna go about with defenses. Right now I just have a guard skill. I need to think about getting more armor. I only have 4,000 armor. It's very, very low. But in combination with Molten Shell, it has been okay. You know, we have Fortify that I basically never use, but anytime I use Vigilant Strike, I get 18 seconds of Fortify, which is basically what I use against, like, in boss fights, really. It's the only time I remember. When I'm just, like, clearing, I just hope that, you know, the totems are, I just, like, hope that totems are fast enough that I can kill them before the enemies kill me. And then for the rest, I just rely on dodging, because with totem skills, you really don't need to be right in the middle of the fight, right? Definitely you can just drop your totems and then, you know, hide behind a pillar and they'll do all the work for you, which is basically my main source of defense now that I think about it. Okay, the ritual. What do we have? I kind of want 10 orbs of binding. One thing that I find that I'm missing a lot this league, I don't know why it is. It's just I'll take this ring too. It's alchemies. Orbs of alchemy. I don't have, I just can't get enough of them. I probably only have like 15 orbs right now. So, you know, rolling maps is actually kind of annoying because, you know, every time I run a map, I throw an alch on it and I'm just running out. Maybe I should be selling more unique items. Sometimes I just don't even bother picking up unique items. But they sell for alchemy shards, which, you know, potentially would be useful. But yeah, like alchemy orbs I'm running out of, and the reason why just now I deferred the orbs of binding is the fact that orbs of binding for maps at least are basically orbs of alchemy. For all intents and purposes, you know, the point of orb of binding is to turn a white item into a yellow item and give it 4 linked sockets. And typically, you know, people used to use it a lot when you're like leveling a new character, right? Where you get an orb of binding and you're having trouble getting a 4 link, so you throw it on like a random helmet or random boots or whatever. Typically helmet or gloves, sometimes chest armor too. But anyways, you throw it on there and you get like an easy 4 link for leveling purposes, and then once you're in the late game, you know, you never really use it for anything. But the fact that you can throw it onto a map is actually really good. It's basically what I've been doing, especially since I'm just... There's been a definite drought in orbs of alchemies.
I cannot do this yet.
Yeah, it's one of those pieces of currency. That and like orbs of fusing. I get a lot of orbs of fusing, but I spend them so fast that, you know, I just never have enough at this point. I'm sure once I get my 6th link, you know, I don't need orbs of fusing as much, which is why I can kind of tell that orbs of fusing they're decreasing in value. You know, I bet over time, especially if you're joining like mid-league, there are a lot of people who are like, hey, like, is it too late to join the league? You know, the market is all weird, which is true. You know, in mid-league, maybe there are less people playing, which means there are less people buying. Especially this league, right? Like, retention has not been great due to various issues, really. But one benefit is I feel like fusing orbs are actually cheaper. So it's easier for you to get your 5 links and 6 links. And really, once you get to the 5 link, 6 link level, you should be able to play pretty far. So for the people who are asking, hey, should I still join this league? Is it too late? I don't think it's too late, even if you're joining later in the league. Maybe in like the last 2-3 weeks of the league where there aren't as many players playing. If you're a new player, okay, this is in perspective of new players and people who are just coming back after not playing the game for a while. Middle of the league, you can definitely still join. Right now, we're not even like, this isn't middle of the league, right? This is like we're 2 weeks in, 3. I actually don't know anymore. 3, maybe we're 1 month in. Time's been a blur. COVID, you know. Yeah, like it should be fine. You know, currency is actually kind of cheap in terms of like fusings, and if you're a new player, once you have 6 links, it's gonna take you really far, right? Like, I know a lot of people are like, well, 6 link isn't even late game gear, you still need influence gear, blah blah blah. There's all this other types of mods that you need, but it's like 6 link will take a new player really far. You know, that's like definitely that's like all the damage that you need. Like, I'm still on a 5 link and I have other gear, admittedly. I sort of took the currency that I had and spent it elsewhere, but if I had spent it on a 6 link, I feel like I would have gotten a lot more damage, whereas this is like supplementary gear that I needed to get my build going. Like, I played a weird build in that sense. But yeah, like even if you join mid league, I feel like you would be fine, probably. Yeah, these kinds of bosses are kind of annoying too, where like they move around a lot, so then once they reposition, I need to resummon my totems. It is less of a problem with consecrated path totems because you can kind of tell they're like teleporting around the map. So, you know, even if they reposition, if they don't reposition far enough, the consecrated path totems will just kind of catch up to them. But still, you know, this is one of those things that does mess with my mana consumption. But hey, it looks like everything's going super well. I actually had expected to die here. Doesn't look like that's happening yet. Okay. But yeah, you can kind of tell my mana's kind of low here. Now I have an option of popping the mana flask, but one thing that I actually kind of like about these changes is I'm definitely thinking about mana and utility. I'm thinking about all of that stuff a little bit more. Not much more, but at least a little bit. Like just now I was thinking, hey, do I pop the mana flask or do I just let mana regen happen? You know, maybe I let mana regen give me back some mana because the fight isn't all that intense yet. I don't need the mana that badly. I don't need to resummon. Oh! Okay, oops. Alright. I didn't need to resummon the totems that bad, is what I was trying to get at before I was unceremoniously deleted. But yeah, like just the fact that I think about it for just a split second, I kind of do appreciate it, I suppose. Okay, well this map is completed. Let's summon the metamorph in here so we have the space to move around. Okay. Okay, this is one of those cases where maybe I don't want to rely on mana regen. I probably want to pop the flask. In fact, maybe I want to pop a couple more flasks. You know? Just so that maybe he'll die a little bit faster. Admittedly, okay, you can kind of tell, my bossing damage is not great. And because my defenses aren't amazing either, when I do get hit, things do get a little dicey. I will admit that. However, like, I always thought that I didn't like damage over time builds. You know, I kind of talked about, oh man, I've been playing damage over time builds every league. Ignite build, poison build, you know, like Wintertide brand, cold damage over time. Maybe that's my playstyle, because I like to play nice and slow, and damage over time, they're not slow, admittedly. If you have enough damage, it's not slow. You're just blowing things up. But for me, because I don't get enough damage, it kind of is like a slow and safe way of playing. And you might be asking right now, how is Consecrated Path damage over time? It's literally an attack build. It doesn't say damage over time at all. And to me, it is damage over time because I drop the totems. It's not one-shotting things. So like, I drop the totems, I run away, and I just focus on dodging like attacks. And these things do damage for me. That's damage over time, right? Like the same thing as like Wintertide brands, same thing as like an Ignite build where you just, you know, the point of it is like, if you don't have enough damage at least, you hit something, they take damage over time, they slowly die, and then you can just focus on defenses. So I kind of like that kind of build because when I play a melee build and it get too far in, if I don't have enough damage, it's just like one shot me. When I play a spellcaster build and I'm like self-casting or something, if I don't, like, for me, like dodging is such an important mechanic. You can't stay still in this game. So you know, playing these kinds of builds have been pretty fun. You know, a lot of people say sorry, I got distracted. A lot of people say that damage over or totem builds are like Resident Sleeper. It's like so boring. But to me, I've been having a lot of fun playing them. It has been very involved, and it's not boring enough where it's like you're doing nothing. Like if I had unlimited damage and everything was just dying and I just drop a totem and it clears the map for me, I'm doing nothing. But I have to drop the totem and I have to focus on cursing and, you know, dodging and not dying. It almost feels like I'm playing a summoner build. But the summoner builds is definitely more involved. But yeah, I'm having fun so far. What is this? What's this enchantment? Areas. This is a blighted map. You can get blighted maps? Areas infested with yeah, this is a blighted map. I didn't know you could get blighted maps from Zana. That's so cool. Is this a new thing? Was this always like here? Was this always... What? Blighted... Complete the blight. Yeah, it has temp chains, which sucks, and it's just a blue map, which isn't great. But hey, man, if I could do a blighted maps are actually worth a lot. Oh wow, cool. This is so cool. I didn't know you could do this. When did this happen? I would say blighted maps. Okay, so like a lot of people have been complaining about like, you know, the league isn't fun anymore. You know, there's not as much stuff to do, not as many builds, build diversity is dead. I've been having a lot of fun, and there's been a lot of things that I'm like definitely looking forward to. Okay, so let's add a sentinel tower here. And I don't really have like there's a lot of crafting that I want to do. You know, crafting is dead, they say, but you know, for me there's still a lot of crafting because I'm not doing deterministic crafting, right? And like an example would be like,
I cannot do this yet.
like okay, like here are like some, like I don't have a tier list per se, but like here are some of the stuff that I have been enjoying in like no specific order, right? Like these are things that I have been having fun with. Definitely one is just like improving my character. For me, it takes me longer to improve my character than anyone else because I don't play as much. And you know, six linking, you know, it's definitely a priority. You know, just making currency obviously is a priority. You know, like one thing that has been pretty fun is trying to craft gear for my strength stacker. And in order to craft that kind of gear, I've been doing a lot of essence crafting with like strength essences. So essence crafting, like the tier 0 essences, so like the highest level essences, crafting with those has been like actually really fun and just basically hitting the lottery, right? Hitting the slot machine. I've been enjoying that a lot. Blighted maps, I have actually been enjoying playing them occasionally. Logbooks as well. They've been pretty good. They've given out good currency. I haven't been playing Heist as much, and part of the reason is that because I play on mobile a lot. I can't believe I'm saying this. Yeah, I'm a mobile player. Like how many people are there that actually do that? But because I've been playing a lot more on like mobile, you know, heists kind of get me killed quite often. So I don't do those as much. June missions are actually been like pretty fun. I've been enjoying rolling with June to try and get like T4 Ashling to try and get like decent mods on my builds. So like one thing I'm looking forward to is just running more June missions so that I can try and craft better gear. And a lot of the stuff that I've been enjoying is like very much crafting related. What else has been fun so far? Definitely like all the vendor stuff I've been enjoying, like ROG crafting. I'm hoping I can get some more currency so I can do like more ROG stuff.
My mana is
Everyone talks about how OP Tujin is, Tuin or whatever. He's just currency. Like he's good, but like it's not like it's good value, I guess. But for me, you know, I much prefer like the gambling stuff over any of the others. So yeah, like essence crafting, I've been doing a lot. T4 ashing stuff, I've been doing a lot just for crafting purposes. In terms of just gameplay, I've been doing a lot of maps. You know, maps are always fun. And then doing a lot of alpha missions. And one thing I really want to try and do this league is like take advantage of watchstones a little bit more, like the watchstones that the Maven drops. It's something that I didn't really take advantage of before in past leagues, and like I know for a fact that it's very strong. And I'm just wondering, like, you know, what farming strategies I could try out this league.
I cannot do this yet.
You know, with those Maven watchstones. Actually, one thing that I have been doing a lot more is what's the zone? Turn's End with the Abyss. The Abyss stuff has been actually pretty profitable, mostly due to the fact that like Stygian belts drop all the time in Abyssal Depths, and because you can force an Abyss on map as a mod this league through the Zana crafting bench, you know, I've been getting a lot of Abyssal Depths, and that basically translates to uh-oh. Get me in, get me in. It translates to a lot of Stygian belts. And with the Stygian belts, oh Jesus, no!
You're making me nervous.
Did I fail it? I think I failed it. I should have built more towers. I wasn't paying attention. Okay, we're still in it. That's good. Okay. Need more towers. Hold on. I'm like in a pickle. I'm in a tight spot here.
Let's see what this tower can really do.
Okay, what about this side? Okay, I think we stabilize now. Ow, that hurts. Okay, I think we're stabilized. But yeah, so with the Abyss mods on the Atlas, you can get +3 item level. So you can get like item level 87, item level 80, 86, 87, like Stygian belts, which are actually pretty decent. They sell for a decent amount every time you get an Abyssal Depth. So I've been liking that. So I have been having a lot of fun. It still feels like there's a lot of stuff for me to do. I know maybe for the power players, it's like the next upgrade is so far away. So I kind of understand how some people online are saying like, oh, there's not as much stuff as achievable. You know, I finished everything I wanted to do. I kind of get it. Especially since PoE is a game where it's like, you don't need to get the perfect gear in order to beat the game, right? You just need to get good enough, and like some people stick around in the game because getting to perfect isn't that hard. And that's one thing that I realized. It's like, you know, before when deterministic crafting was alive with Harvest, you know, getting to perfect gear is pretty easy, right? Or well, I don't want to say easy, but it's like it's achievable with like the right amount of investment, and it's not like a back-breaking amount where you're playing like it's a full-time job. Like the steps are simple to follow, and it's just it's doable. Whereas now it's like you got to do all these steps. It's expensive, it's time consuming, and there's also a chance that you just brick your items and then you know, you lose all your progress and have to do it all over again. So it's hard. It's a slot machine. And for those players, what ends up happening, what I'm realizing is like, yeah, I could spend all this time you know, trying to craft the perfect item. It's still possible. It's just a lot more RNG based. But I could just also, like, you know, move on to a next character. And some people move on to a new character and they do other stuff, right? And some people are like, well, I did everything I wanted this league. I beat all the content. Quote, unquote, there's nothing else for me to do. And that basically translates to anything else that I can do is going to take too damn long to do. And I could just roll a new character, except I don't want to roll a new character, so I guess I'm just done this league. I think that's something that GGG might need to look at. It's like, what do you do about those players? Where it's like, I guess I'm done. Like, I could do more, but it's going to be way too time consuming, which is fair. It's like, technically, you have beaten all the content, right? And like, GGG's goal was, hey, we're going to make the game harder. We're going to make things harder for you to get. It's not going to be as deterministic. So it's going to take you longer to get all that stuff, but it's a stretch goal for you, for those of you who want to do it. And before, it's like that stretch goal wasn't as much of a stretch. So like the motivation to get to that next point was, it's like, I can do it. If I just invest like 2 weeks, I'll be able to craft this thing. Now it's like, man, I got to invest 2 months, and I'm not too sure if I'll still get it. Maybe it's not 2 months. Maybe that's an exaggeration. But it's like I gotta invest more time, and it's time I don't want to spend just for a maybe. Not to say that I hate. Like I think it was the right choice to do all these nerfs in terms of crafting and a golden oil. That's Pog. That's 40 chaos right there. Not to say that, you know, I disagree with GGG's nerfs. I think all of the nerfs are kind of deserved. You shouldn't be able to craft perfect items in the short time span that it took. It should be harder. But one thing that resulted from it is like, now players are like, well, you know, I beat the game without perfect items. I really didn't need them. The only reason I did it before was like, it was like easy enough to do. So like those end game players, I think they're just stopping a little bit earlier, which is
I cannot do this yet.
I don't. It might be like an unintended consequence. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. That's something I thought about recently. I'm like, you know, I see a lot of Reddit threads where it's like, and this is like the elephant in the room, where like this is, you know, like it might be a fad, you know, flavor of the month. The threads are like, I'm quitting. This is why. I played for like 500 hours and I'm done. And 500 hours after a month, right? And I'm done. I'm done with this league. Here's why. And it's like, there's nothing for me, nothing else for me to do. And people go, what do you mean there's nothing else for you to do? Like, you can still upgrade. You can, there's still an upgrade path. It's just harder. And what I realized is it's a matter of like the marginal effort required to do the next step, right? Like how much effort it takes to get that next piece of gear is, for example, if it takes me like every 1 week I get an upgrade, I can handle it. Like the best case scenario is like every few days I get an upgrade. It feels great because it feels like you're progressing towards something, you're moving towards something, right? With Harvest you kind of had that, and now you can't get that perfect item. Like if I keep doing this every few weeks, eventually it'll hit perfect. And I was like, even to me, I'm like, that's kind of ridiculous. You shouldn't be able to hit perfect. But now people are like, well, if I can't hit perfect and like I can't get an upgrade every week or two, if it's gonna take me even longer than that, I don't need to be perfect. I already beat all the content. There's nothing to fight anymore, right? And like I can just stop right here. I'm done. And I think that's what's happening with a lot of players. Like they're like, okay, fine, then I'm done. Which is fine. Like technically you've come to like a logical conclusion for your build. And some people go, okay, now that I'm done, I'm gonna move on to another character. I'm gonna roll a new character, and I think that's what GGG wants. I'm done with this. I've gotten as far as I wanted. I'm gonna roll a new character, and I'm gonna do the cycle all over again. That's probably what they want, but I feel like what's happening instead, it's like, man, I don't want to level up another character. I'm done. See you next league. Which like, you know, maybe that's not, that might have been an unintended consequence. Like definitely maybe they didn't see that one coming. But yeah, like definitely I agree with all the nerfs. Like I've been thinking about it a lot these days. Shouldn't be able to get to perfect items. And I think the crafting is, I personally think the crafting is fine, right? Like GGG tried to solve this issue by just nerfing everybody to say like, okay, there is more stuff to do because you can't kill the end game content without like all this, you know, without working on your stuff a little bit more, because like we nerfed everything. You don't do as much damage. Maybe you want to craft a little bit longer to get that extra bit of damage and squeeze it out. But people are still like killing everything and killing all the bosses. Like they beat the game, right? So it's like, if there's no content along, like challenging enough content alongside like the crafting systems, there needs to be a balance there. So that's probably something that they'll need to look at in the future. Like if people want to craft more, there has to be like a reason, not just for the sake of having perfect items just because I can. And that's what it was like before. I'm just gonna craft a little bit more to hit that perfect item just because I can, because it's easy enough to do. Now that that's gone, it's like, what do you do instead? This is an interesting amulet, by the way. Tier 1 life with some percentage energy shield. Do I just craft resistance and call it a day? Like, how much is that worth? Life, resistance, with energy shield? Not much. Chaos damage, I mean, cold damage.
I cannot do this yet.
Maybe there's like a ice trapper that would be interested in something like this. Trickster? What are trappers? Saboteurs. Do they have energy shield? I don't think they do. Anyways, let's put this up for like 10 chaos and see if maybe it sells. Oh, this is an interesting jewel. Life, throwing speed, area damage. Like I said, there are a lot of trappers out there. This might go for like a good amount. Let's try like 40. I don't know. What's life and trap throwing speed? I don't know if trap throwing speed is that valuable. Maybe, I don't know. Let's do like 60 chaos. Mind damage, melee, critical strike, multi attack speed while holding a shield. So crit, multi, and attack speed is really the only interesting stuff. So that's not that great. You know, if it had life, maybe it would have been better. Corrupted, it hit nothing. Physical damage, crit, multi with two-handed weapons. That could be interesting. With chaos res. Maybe 20C. Maybe 15. I could see if I can try and hit like a decent corrupt mod on it. This is like the big balls move. And we ripped it. That's why it's big balls. And everything else, we can just dump. Okay. This goes into here. All right, that's the end of this episode. We completed a map, a Zana map, and a Blighted map. A Zana Blighted map. That was very interesting. Unfortunately, we failed our 6-link attempt, so for the next while, we're just going to be focusing on getting more currency in order to get enough fusings to try another 6-link. We're going to have to see. I don't know how long that's going to take, but you know, that's my goal. I need that 6-link. I want that extra damage. It's 30% more damage. It's going to be huge. So hopefully we'll be able to get there. Thank you guys very much for watching this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, as always, you can leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more updates in the future. Otherwise, keep in touch, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.